Today's video will cover setting up and using the Sheet Set Manager. The first question we should ask is, why use the Sheet Set Manager? The first reason is your sheet names and numbers can be handled through the Sheet Set Manager. The second reason is references to other sheets within the plan set can be set up as sheet set fields and edited through the Sheet Set Manager. And the third reason is, if you plot using the Sheet Set Manager, it's way more efficient than going into each sheet and printing individually. Let's dive in and I will show you how to use the Sheet Set Manager. To start using the Sheet Set Manager, we're going to need to start with our standard sheet border or our title block. We want to set up fields for the sheet number and the sheet title. I am going to take both of these pieces of text, and I'm also going to take this outline. This outline represents the edge of the paper when I print. But I'm going to move it with these two pieces of text as a reference point, so I can marry this up with the sheet border. I'm going to take these three elements and I will copy to the clipboard with a base point of 0, 0. I'm going to paste those three elements into my standard block library. For the sheet number, I want to go in and edit this text, and I'm going to right click and choose Insert Field. And under Field category, I will choose Sheet Set. Now this field represents the sheet number, so I will choose Current Sheet Number. And what this is going to do is, once this text is inserted onto a sheet that is part of a sheet set, then the field is going to activate and it will auto-populate with the current sheet number. Okay. Now for this text, same process. We're going to go in to edit the text, right-click, Insert Field, Sheet Set, and this will be the current sheet title. And I'll say OK. Now what I'm going to do with this outline and these two pieces of text is I'm going to convert them into a block. And I'm going to call it 24 by 36 number and title. And I want to pick the insert point at the lower left-hand corner of the outline, so that when I insert this into the title block in the future, it will insert it right at 0, 0. Okay, so now these three elements are a block, and I am going to go ahead and drag them onto my tool palette. Okay, you will need to go into the properties of this block and set the option for explode to yes. So when you insert the block, it will explode and you'll be left with those two pieces of text and the outline. If you leave it as a block, it will not work with the Sheet Set Manager. This is because the two pieces of text are not editable attributes. If you make them into attributes, you can leave this as a block in the sheet drawing. Okay, so I am done with the block library for now. I'm going to go ahead and close it. Now I'm back in my standard border. I can take the text representing the number and the sheet title and simply erase them. If you haven't done this already, I suggest that you take this drawing and do a file, do a save as, and save it as a DWT file using that name. Okay, great. So now we are done with this. We can close it. Once you've done the initial setup of turning your border into a template drawing and creating the block for the sheet number and the sheet title, those things will be set up for you and ready to go every time you start a new job. For the sake of this video, I've created a sample project, and you can see we have the drawing folder with the folder for the base drawings, the sheet drawings, so on and so forth. The first thing that you're going to do is you're going to go into your templates folder and double click on the template that we just created. I'm going to do a save as on this drawing. And now the border is going to go into the base files. It's going to become a base drawing. Okay. And I will just call this the job number underscore border. Okay, so now this border is part of the project, so we can go in and start filling in the information. So I've gone in and filled in the project-specific information in this border, and these things are static. They're not going to change. They're going to be the same in every sheet, because what we're going to do is X-reference this border into each sheet. If there's a change to, let's say there's a change to the project title, you need to open up this border drawing, this border base drawing, and you can edit this text once. Okay, so we're done with this for now. Let's go ahead and close it. And now we need to start creating our sheet drawings. I'm going to open up my templates folder, and I have a sheet template ready to go. I double click on it. It creates a new drawing, drawing number 2. I will save as, and I'm going to put this in the sheets folder, and let's call it the job number 025001 underscore. This is going to be sheet number 1, and it will be the cover sheet. Okay. So now if we look at our project, we have our first sheet, we have the cover sheet. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to X-reference the border. I'm going to go into the X-reference and grab the border. It's going to come in at 0, 0. Okay. So there's that border that we just created. And then the next thing I'm going to do is go to the tool palette and insert that block that we created, the number and title block, and it's going to come in at 0, 0. And you can see, just as we planned, the sheet number field comes in at the right location, and the sheet title field comes in at the right location. Now they are still blank because this sheet is not part of a sheet set yet. Once we put it into the sheet set, they will auto-populate. But before we do that, I'm going to take this cover sheet and do a save as to create the rest of our plan set. Okay, so we've built out the plan set. It's a pretty simple little plan set with just 6 sheets, our cover, topo, site, grading, utility details. Obviously, the bigger the plan set, the more the sheet set manager comes into its own. But for the sake of what we're doing here in this video, this will show what the process is. It'll show you how to use the sheet set manager. Okay, so we've got our border in each sheet. We've got the block containing the sheet number and the sheet title in each sheet. Now we can go in and start building the sheet set manager. To open the sheet set manager, you can type in SSM into the command line. Or the other thing that you can do is go up to the View tab, and you can see this button right here for the sheet set manager. So what we want to do is create a new sheet set. Click on this drop down here, and we want to select New Sheet Set. We are going to create our sheet set based on the existing drawings. Those are the existing sheets that we created in the Sheets folder. Hit Next. And I'm going to name the sheet set with the job number first, 025001. and then I'll simply call it sheet set. Now there might be situations where you have multiple sheet sets because you have a single project with multiple plan sets. You would want to put a descriptor on the end of this name representing which plan set it goes with. You can put a description if you want, if that helps you out. Now we can click this button over here. This allows us to specify where the sheet set file is kept. We are under the sample project, under the drawing folder. I have a folder called data. Under the data, I have a folder called sheet sets. Okay, so now we've named the sheet set and we've identified where we are going to keep that sheet set file. Okay, so let's move on to the next step. Now the sheet set dialog box is asking us where the drawings are that we want to add to the sheet set. So we're going to hit the browse button. We can go into our sample project, go to the sheets folder, and by clicking on the sheets folder, it's going to grab all the drawings that we put into this folder and use them to build the sheet set. Okay. So you can see we have our cover sheet, topo sheet, site, grading, utility details, and all of the layouts that are part of those drawings. And then the last step allows you to go through and confirm the choices that you've made. I'm okay with all this, so I'm going to say finish. Okay, so now I have a sheet set and the cover sheet, topo sheet, so on and so forth. Those drawings are part of my sheet set. One thing I forgot to mention, you can go in and click on any of these drawings and it'll open it up. You can use the sheet set manager as sort of like a file explorer. Now you can see this field is part of a sheet that is part of a sheet set. So the field recognizes that and it activates. It is showing the sheet number as determined by the sheet set manager. And it is showing the sheet title as shown in the sheet manager. Okay. So let's go in and fix that. Obviously this doesn't work as a sheet title. Let's go in and start changing the numbers and names. To do that, click on one of the sheets, right click, and hit the rename and renumber. I'm going to call the cover sheet C 1.0, and you can change the layout name as well. So I'm also going to call the tab C 1.0. And now for the sheet title, I will just simply call it cover sheet. Okay. Now I'm going to go through the entire list and change all of these numbers and names. Okay, so I've gone in and I've changed the sheet numbers. You can see in this first column, and I've changed the sheet names. Let's go into this plan, this grading plan, hit the regen, and you can see the sheet title's been updated and the sheet number has been updated. Let's use the grading plan as an example and show what you would do if you need to add sheets to the sheet set manager. So in this case, I'm going to do a move or copy. I'm going to create a copy of 4.0 and move it to the end. And I'm going to do the same thing over again. Okay, so I've just added 3 sheets to the plan set. They do not show up in the sheet set manager. Okay, so now I want to save the drawing. I right click on the sheet set and I import layout as sheet. I'm going to browse for drawings. And since I added these tabs to the grading plan, I want to open up the grading drawing. 4.0 is already part of the sheet set, so it automatically unchecks it. 4.1 through 4.3 are not part of the sheet set, so it automatically checks them. We want to import checked. Okay. So now 4.1, 4.2, and 4.3 have been added to the sheet set. I am going to take all of these guys and I'm going to move them underneath the grading plan. I want to arrange them in the order that they appear in the plan set. Now I'm going to go through and rename and renumber them. Okay, so the sheet numbers and the sheet names have been edited. Let's see if they appear. And we are on C4.0, sheet number is 4.0, and the name is overall grading plan. 4.1, sheet 4.1, grading plan 1. Okay, so that worked. One of the really nice things that you can do if you're working in a really large plan set, you can kind of go in and organize these sheets. You know, like I said, what if you're working in a plan set that has 150 sheets or something like that? What you can do is right-click on the sheet set and you can create a new subset. Okay, I'll just call it grading. And now I can take these grading sheets and drag them into the grading subfolder. And I'm going to take this grading subfolder. It's going to go between the site plan and the utility plan. And when you're working on a really large set of plans, it's kind of nice to be able to collapse these subsets. Okay, so another feature that I really encourage everybody to use, you can create sheet references within your detail references. So here we have a detail call out, and let's say the detail number is number 4, and I am going to reference the detail sheet. I would right click and say insert field, and I'm going to look at the sheet set. And you can see when I click on the sheet set, it brings up the current sheet set. In this case, it's the 025001 sheet set. I want this detail to reference the detail sheet. Okay, so I'm going to click on C6.0 and I want to fill in the sheet number. Okay, I'm referencing detail number 4 on sheet C6.0. If you're using these detail references, you can imagine that you might possibly have dozens of these throughout your plan set. Let's say in our sheet set manager, the details were at the very end, and throughout the course of the project, we kept adding sheets in, and the details kept getting bumped. So C6.0 all of a sudden becomes C7.0. So I'm sure you've all experienced this, but the pain of going through the entire plan set and changing the text referencing the detail sheet is cumbersome, very tedious, and dollars to donuts, you're going to miss a few. It's not the end of the world, but it just looks sloppy. So we don't want that. So I highly encourage that you use these fields to reference the sheets, because watch what happens. Let's say I bump the detail sheet. Okay, so I'm going to rename and renumber. All of a sudden this becomes C8.0. Now, when I look at this detail reference, it has been updated to C8.0 automatically. The next huge benefit of using the sheet set manager, if you've ever had a large job where you had to go through and print each sheet individually, I'm begging you, stop right now. You need to use the sheet set manager, because opening each drawing and printing it is a time killer. And once you see how easy this is, I think you're going to believe me. So let's say I want to print all of these sheets. I right click and go to publish and publish to PDF. Okay, it's asking me where I want to save the PDF. This is called SSM Demo Plans, and it's going to go right on my desktop. Okay, so it's going to be printing in the background, and it'll let me know when it's done. Okay, so the publisher just finished publishing, and we have a PDF. We have the cover sheet, topographic plan, site plan, so on and so forth. How simple was that? You right click, hit the publish and publish to PDF, and it's that simple. You have a full PDF of your plan set. One thing I should mention is in order for this to work, you have to have the print window set up before you publish. So if I go into the print dialog box, you can see I'm using 24 by 36 paper with a 1:1 scale. The window is set to the limits of the paper. If I go in and change this to 8.5 by 11, so now my plot window is not set up correctly. If I print this, publish to PDF, and I'm going to put this on my desktop. Okay, and I open this PDF, it's not working. It's only showing that 8.5 by 11 little area. What you need to keep in mind is you need to be in the habit of keeping this page setup, the 24 by 36 PDF, or whatever you're using, current. When you do go and publish the entire plan set, the print setup will be ready for you. You know, if someone goes in and just prints off like a little 8.5 by 11 area right here, they need to get in the habit of going back into the page setup and setting it to the 24 by 36. All things considered, I think it's a small cost to pay for the immense benefit you get from publishing this plan set using the sheet set manager. This was a long one. I hope that you stuck with me. I hope that you learned something, and I truly hope that using the sheet set manager is going to help you and your company save time. You can check out my website. It's www.elephant-eng.com. On the website, I have a number of different time-saving dynamic blocks. As always, thanks for watching and take care.